Aloha, this is Santa Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today is Thursday, October 9th, 2025. I had a podcast all written yesterday, and then I just cried all day yesterday. All kinds of emotions were coming out. And then all of a sudden, my feed was filled with puppy videos, little kitty videos, and just kindness to humanity videos. It was really, I think my soul just needed some nurturing. There was so much going on, and I'm sure, are you guys feeling the same way? I'm just kind of curious. Are you feeling the same way? Just a lot of emotions. You're finally getting vindicated for all the hard work, right? Come join us on santasurfing.locals.com. We do lives. This month, I'm only doing one live a week, and then I'll get back to 2 lives once my schedule is back to normal, and today will be my last day that I will be posting on my Rumble channel. I'm walking away from a huge channel so I can simplify my life by going to a tiny little channel over here. So come join us over here on YouTube. And then if you want to see, there's poser accounts out, please be aware of poser accounts. I only have one account on each of my socials. So X, if you want to see, is that the real Santa Surfing? Just click on here and you'll find out, okay? Same thing with Telegram, same thing with Locals is and Truth. So just be aware. There's a lot of really great energy out there. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. None of this that I'm going to report today, a lot. I got a lot to cover because I got 2 days worth. None of this would have happened because it had it not been for you. So really think about it when you look in the mirror to brush your teeth, comb your hair, or trim your beard or whatever. Just look at you and say, wow. And thank God for you, because God used President Trump and God needed you. Okay, now let me just dive in because I got so much to cover. President Trump has hinted the Insurrection Act, tariffs, funding the government. Oh my gosh, it's brilliant. 107 nominations got confirmed, all in one vote. Gaza War. This is a new release for Thursday. Gaza War is over, and there's so much more I need to cover. Oh my goodness, it is so fantastic. So what happened on the 18th of September is that there were 40. So President Trump had about 200. He had about close to 200 nominations that he needed to get confirmed. Right before the shutdown, 48 of them got confirmed in one vote. Now, then, on October 7th, 2 days ago, what happened? There were 107 nominations confirmed in block, meaning that it's all one big, massive vote. All right. Now, again, it's really wonderful. But what that means, too, is that these were, remember, President Trump, he has to get judges, U.S. attorneys, all the right players in place, right? Rapid response, oh my gosh, listed all of the 107. So if you are trying to do a search on this, so you're going to see that there's Secretary of Commerce, Assistant Secretary of State, diplomatic. Again, some of these are worldwide. Diplomatic security. He's got to cover all his bases around the world, right? And then Assistant Secretary of State, East Asia and Pacific Affairs. So I don't know some of these new positions. But what I found very interesting is there's Undersecretary for Arms Control and International Security, CEO of the United States Internal Development Finance Corporation. That is the Bank of New York, Benjamin Black of New York, as CEO of the United States. How can a government organization, entity, anything government have a CEO? Are we switching right now? That's just one hint. There's another one I'll give in about 10 minutes. Then we have, then here we are, the ambassador to the Kingdom of Bahrain. And now, again, he's already worked out a peace deal with them. But through this whole list, I'm not going to read the whole thing, guys, there are 16 U.S. attorneys, United States attorneys for certain districts that are very, very needed. Yeah, so you got it for Pennsylvania, Idaho, North Dakota, Montana. There's 16, which is really big because we need that. And remember, not too long ago, 2 weeks ago, Earl Matthews, he was the one that testified about what happened on J6, and he was one of the Army colonels that talked about how they had stand-down orders. Well, he was nominated as the general counsel for the Department of War. Okay, so we got a lot of really big things. He had to. So you're wondering, why didn't we see Comey with handcuffs? Why didn't we see a lot of stuff? Well, hopefully I can answer that in this podcast, but these are all the 107. So if you want to click on that link, go ahead. And all of these links you see in here are in the article link below. So if you're new to my channel, but I looked at 107, Q107. All right. So it has November 5th here. Code. May God also grant all of us the wisdom to ask what concrete steps we can take to reduce the violence and weaponry in our midst. Note when we just sent to the go orders. And when this tweet went live, coincidence? Pray. Now, again, it kind of ties into some of the things now I'll share in just a few minutes here. The pieces that all had to be in place. This was a delta of 3 days ago about what if she got in? Was it Hillary or Kamala got in? What if she got 3 more Supreme Court justices? What if she got 300 plus judges? Again, hinting we needed our judicial system to be in place for everything. What if rogue elements remained within the FBI, CIA, NSA, all these other 3-letter agencies? What if the military remained financially starved? What if foreign backers continued to control America's policy? Continued, okay? That's telling you that foreign backers have been controlling it, and Trump says, What if borders remained open? What if China was given the keys? What if this is not about Republican versus Democrat? This is truly a spiritual warfare at this point. President Trump, 3 days ago, he had a little presser. He was talking about something very unrelated. He was talking more about Alaska. He was talking about the mining that is opening up in Alaska. That I'll have to get into in another podcast because that in itself is big in itself. But listen to what President Trump, so there's a collection of different clips in here, but listen to what President Trump says about the consequences for the attackers, the criminal thugs that are out in the streets, and about Portland, and about we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. I'll get to that in a moment. Listen to what he says.
I've seen a surge in attacks on ICE agents across the country, including the shooting in Dallas and over the weekend in Chicago. We saw 10 cars boxing in on ICE agents and another one ramming into an ICE vehicle. We have heard Secretary Noem saying that some of these attackers are actually organized and they're planning to kill and ambush these officers. Right. What are the consequences for
very severe? We're going to have very severe. We're going to find out who's going after our federal agents. We'd love to have a safer place. Chicago's a great city potentially. You know, I told you the head of the Union Pacific Railroad said, "Sir, save Chicago. It's a great city. It's going to be lost if you don't do it." We have no choice but to do this. And when judges give us rulings that, you know, you don't have to do it, Portland is on fire. Portland's been on fire for years. And not so much saving it. We have to save something else because I think that's all insurrection. I really think that's really criminal insurrection. So I appreciate the question. What?
The Insurrection Act, under what conditions or terms would you?
Well, I do it if it was necessary. So far it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are.
How big were those statements? Now, he even talked about Portland. He doesn't even know if it's worth saving. So is it going to be completely, I don't know. Is it going to be rehauled into a completely different type of city? Emergency alert system. We've never, ever, ever looked forward to an emergency alert system ever until now, right? And going back to what he said, if people were being killed and courts are holding us up or governors or mayors are holding us up, sure, I do that. Isn't that what's going on right now? Courts are blocking an executive order from President Trump about anything that has to do, again, this is all concerning ICE. People, our own people are fighting against our own government. The government is doing good, cleaning out all of the thugs, and these thugs don't want that, right? So really let that sink in. Of course, you already know that, but some that are really new to this movement might say, wow, that's so true. Governors and mayors, don't we have that happening right now? So I wanted to find out just a little bit more for your information only. What if when President Trump enacts the Insurrection Act? If enacted, military deployment, thousands of troops could mobilize rapidly, federalizing guard units already in cities and sending active duty forces to hotspots. And that talked about in June 2025, Trump deployed 4,000 guard troops and 700 Marines to LA. Without the act, invocation would remove restrictions on their enforcement roles. What we're also seeing is in Portland, the police officers were told to stand down, and also they are helping Antifa. They're actually kind of walking them through different things that they can do to diffuse the situation, but still kind of work it through the back door. They're even showing how there's even videos out, and I don't even know how it even has stay power, about how you can go ahead and break through zip ties. Just evil. So operational troops can enforce federal laws Right. Disperse crowds, protect property, and make arrests. Isn't that what President Trump, he talked about back in June when he was talking about deploying the National Guard and they can make arrests, right? He was talking, and then those National Guards went to 19 cities. So they're in 19 cities right now. President Trump through Il Donato, he posted that video I shared on 3 days ago about this is so much fun about Antifa getting hauled off in carts. And then some people are posting this meme. It's a meme. Home Depot Antifa removal carts. Okay. It's not something you can buy. It's just something that's a meme. Okay. Then President Trump, 2 days ago, he posted this memo. It is from an attorney general, not directed to him, but he just posted it. First part of the memo, it says, so it begins with U.S. Code. Those provisions authorize the president, when faced with such unlawful obstructionists against the authority of the United States as existed in Alabama, and to, quote, call the federal service such of the militia of any state and use such of the armed forces as he considers necessary. 10 U.S.C. Section 333. The militia of the United States includes the National Guard, meaning the Army National Guard and the Air National Guard of the several states. And if you want to read more, then you can just click on the article link below and then it'll take you to this here. But it goes a little bit further about this U.S. Code and the rights that President Trump has. Now, also, 2 nights ago at midnight, President Trump, at midnight, he posted an article on the 7 times the presidents have enacted U.S. troops on American soil. In this article, so if you click in here, it takes you directly to the article, and it's the Stop Crime in America. His goal is very simple. The 7 times it happened is the Civil War, disintegration of Southern schools, MLK's march from Selma to Montgomery, the Detroit Uprising of 1967, riots following the assassination of MLK, Cuban refugee crisis of 1980, and then the 1992 LA riots. So I don't know how much more he can give us in terms of signs, but what he's even saying, and this was what he posted yesterday morning, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Governor Pritzker also. Okay, so and then of course the media is going crazy over that. They're like, oh my gosh, he's calling for them to get arrested. Well, you know what? They do deserve it because they're trying to prevent any help for the people. They are supposed to protect, right? And to serve. They get paid by taxpayer dollars. And now they're saying, no, don't come in. We're fine. We don't need you. They even signed an executive order in Chicago. The mayor, the idiot, he signed an executive order not allowing any federal troops, military, ICE agents to come into the city. How crazy is that, right? And then there's a marathon going on this weekend, and some people are asking, is it safe? I think you've answered your own question. I am not going to answer that. You have to decide, but again, you have to decide. So the Comey arraignment, I'm not even going to get into too much detail on this, but this is what else happened. He pled not guilty. He pled not guilty to something that's already been, he pled not guilty. There are declassified documents. It already proves he's guilty, but he went to court and he says he's not guilty. The trial date is set for January 5th of 2026. Now, for the add-ons, Comey already got the Gitmo treatment in 2021. He was not only a dirty cop, but he committed very serious, heinous crimes, horrible crimes against humanity, against those helpless, the homeless, those it was just horrible what he did. But the optics are needed to wake up the masses. If his underground dark crimes ever surfaced, every single Democrat would revolt. That's how bad his orders were to his agents, to what they were doing. It was horrible. Jack Smith, now another development too. So just kind of letting you know about Comey. He is dirty. You know, these people that have these sweet faces, they're, oh, I feel so bad for Comey. No, you don't. No, you don't. He was a dirty cop. He played dirty. He let Hillary go. He told her to take hammers and smash her devices. Yeah, like they weren't going to, isn't everything the internet it's forever. But aren't those devices also forever? What's in that? To go ahead and smash him, didn't record his conversation, he was protecting a sick person, a sick organization, her foundation, on crimes against humanity. And that's because he was doing it himself. So, okay, so that enough about James Comey. I'm sure more of that will come up. But he does have more crimes coming because there are conspiracy crimes that are surfacing and other kinds of criminal acts that he's done. So that would be in addition to the 2 felony charges he has. These are just like the low-level felony charges. They had to go ahead and beat the statute of limitations deadline, but for conspiracy crimes, that doesn't have a statute of limitations. Okay, Jack Smith, he also spied on some senators, 8 of them. Maybe this time the FBI and the DOJ will start to move fast. They might put pressure on the FBI and DOJ. They didn't put pressure when we were getting spied on, when President Trump was getting spied on, right? But maybe they'll do things a little bit faster now. But these are the senators. It's Mike Kelly, Lindsey Graham. Here we go. Bill, I had to put my glasses on. Bill Hagerty, Josh Hawley, Dan Sullivan, Tommy Tuberville, Ron Johnson, Cynthia Loomis, and Marsha Blackburn. So they're all going up and they're saying, we got spied on, blah, blah, blah. Well, go ahead and do something this time. But Bill Cryer had posted, he's on X, they didn't even give a blank when the FBI was spying on regular citizens, but now they're outraged. Bingo, bingo. You know, I understand, and if the white hats are watching this, you know how I feel about Congress right now. Congress is kind of like a useless, they're just kind of useless, but I have some good news about what might happen to them later on. They're kind of useless and pointless, you know, and they go in and they did the OBB, they voted for the One Big Beautiful Bill, only because President Trump had to put pressure on 19 Congress people to go ahead and vote for it, right? So let's see what happens now. Maybe they will finally take some action and really move faster on Trump getting spied on, and of course us. Okay, then this happened. SG Anon, he sent this to me today. So it wasn't something that was posted on a military account. It was sent to him. Spotted at a U.S. Marine Corps chow hall at Stateside Homeland Duty Station. Looks like the time clock is about to get punched. Okay, it's a steak and lobster meal, really nice meal, okay? All right. It appears to be go time. Lots of military people were responding to this about the surf and turf meal. They feed the devil dogs. This is from Scott Barker. He wrote, when they feed the devil dogs like this, it can only mean blank is about to get real. Get them, Marines. Okay, so this, again, and then other people in the military were saying, this is, in case they don't make it through, that they had a really great meal. But I also look at it this way. Is it also the last, how they have a last meal before somebody gets the Gitmo treatment? I don't know. There's a lot of messages to this. So thank you, SGNon, for sharing that. Okay, then, this is really interesting. The new government shifting a CEO of the IRS, and it's not normal. Not normal at all. So a little bit about the IRS. IRS is laying off about 50% of its staff. But during this whole time, Secretary Bessent, Treasury, Scott Bessent, he went ahead and he announced the appointment of Frank Bisignano. He was a Wall Street guy, all right? And he appointed, now he's also the head of Social Security, but he is now appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of the IRS, a newly created position. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. Full stop. Since when does the government have a chief executive officer? Are we shifting? Is the shift not just an emotional Schumann resonance shift? Is it also a shift in what we're seeing in our government? A lot of stuff happened after President Trump met with the author of Project 2025, Russ Vought. And now we're seeing a lot of this stuff happening. So is the IRS suddenly going to be a private entity off to the side, scooted off to the side, and eventually dismantled? Because it's easier to to dismantle a private entity than a government one, right? Oh, so I don't know. It just kind of seems very interesting. But are the people in the IRS getting fired, furloughed, not coming back? Are we going to open up the ERS, right? Well, let me just talk about that right now, because this was really big. Town Hall posted, the Trump administration announced it will transfer tariff revenue for women and children food programs to ensure it doesn't run dry during the Schumer shutdown. Over 6 million people rely on this program for healthy food assistance. Okay, now if you want to listen to the clip, you can. This is how I look at it, guys. And I am so excited about this, okay? Because this is how the new government will work. Tariff funds, they get assigned directly to a program, a useful agency. It's direct funding. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. The reason why the shutdown is happening is because they cannot get appropriation funding approved. The Democrats still want their $1.5 trillion to fund illegals with free medical care, but no. So this is for no more of this appropriations funds that Congress controls, right? Those days apparently they're done, over, bye-bye. Congress can't touch the tariff funds going directly to a program. Do you see where I'm going with this? Lots of broke Congress people will be screaming because they won't get kickbacks. So a lot of our monies, the $5 trillion in income tax a year, goes towards all these different things. And we've learned now through DOGE, through the opening of USAID and uncovering that Pandora's box, how much of our money went to some things that were just like, what? It didn't even help improve our own country. It didn't help improve you. Now, these funds are going directly, you see where I'm going? Directly to that fund, that program, or a very, I'm going to say, useful agency. Okay, so because some of them are pointless. So that's really, 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 really big. And that's how we are shifting. So then I'm going to go into the next thing, which is on President Trump and the way he's working. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. If you own a business or you run a business or maybe you gave a personal loan to somebody and somebody needs to pay you back, right? Does it really matter where you get the money from? I mean, apart from if it was criminal money or anything, but if the person says, well, I had to borrow this from my Aunt Sue and I'm giving it to you, right? You're going to get your payment, right? So it didn't really, so I guess I'm hoping your answer is it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter because you'll still get your payment. If you have an invoice that's outstanding with a vendor of yours and you call them up and say, hey, you owe me some money. Can you get me that $300 paid to me? And they'll say, oh, yeah. So either they write you a check, they run it through a credit card, whatever they do, they still paid you the money, right? Well, now listen. Okay, so take that, remember that, hold that, shelf it. Okay, just shelf it for a moment. So yesterday, President Trump, he posted this. It was just strictly the article. The title is Genius. Trump's Intel investment skyrockets 50% in 1 month. Okay, now that's awesome, but let's take it a step further, guys. This is just a brilliant move. In that article, I'm giving you a summarized version, okay? The deal with Intel that he had. So Intel had a $500 billion investment deal. Now, they also have these other deals in the back. I'm not too sure what it is. But part of the deal was that there was $9.4 billion that Intel was expecting back because of their commitment to make an investment in America. Now, this is just Intel. Now, ordinarily, that $9.4 billion is paid through taxpayer money, right? So it's the government. Oh, let's go in the tax account. Let's go ahead and pay that. We're done. No! Trump did it complete. Now we're doing the paradigm shift. President Trump, so what he did with the deal is he negotiated a bargain price per share of Intel stock at $20.47 a share. Within weeks, less than a month, that stock is over $30 a share. That's a 50% increase. Now, if he took $1 billion, or let's just say he took that $500 billion and that's their investment, and he just put that into, we talked about this 4 weeks ago, but he puts that into, even if he put it into Intel stock, that $500 billion suddenly became $750 billion if it increased 50%, right? So are you with me? Trump managed to pay that $9.4 billion that was owed to Intel via the increase in the stock without costing the taxpayers one dime. That is the way. This is pure genius, guys. It's just outside of the way we normally think, right? Now, again, we need to prepare ourselves for this way of thinking when it comes to our personal finances at some point, because when things start to change and our fiat dollar isn't flat or stagnant or going down, but like, again, your fiat dollar today, you might have $20,000 in one of your bank accounts, and then all of a sudden you're used to having just $20,000. The next day, what if it's $22,000? The following day, again, only examples, not financial advice. What if the next day, 2 days from that day, it's $25,000? Because of the type of, let's say, the type of tokens, currency that's going to be used that actually increases rather than decreases in value. So this is the shift. This is what President Trump has done. Did he do it with all those other businesses? The $17 trillion. Think of this. Think of this. What if, remember how President Trump says he's got $17 trillion in investments? What if he just parked it for 30 days? Okay. He just put it somewhere and they said, okay, we have these funds. We have this investment commitment coming in. Remember the two countries that gave Trump money and said, you can do whatever you want with it. But let's just say he took the 17 trillion. This is a very, very, again, this is just a hypothetical. And he put it into Intel stock. And in that period of time, it went up 50%. That 17 trillion suddenly became $25.5 trillion. And that's just in 30 days. Then let's say he takes it out and then he starts to do all the investment stuff. That's the brilliance of this move. And then, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Some of my sleepy acquaintances are sending me messages saying, hey, Santa, did you see this? This came from one of my sleepy acquaintances, guys. A SCOTUS ruling, upcoming ruling. And then, of course, this person wanted me to explain it to them. Like, I thought you might be interested in this. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. October 15th, which is next Wednesday, SCOTUS is going to make a ruling, okay, that could let the GOP add 19 House seats, clearing the path for a one-party system. This is coming from liberal Yahoo News that reposted a Salon ultra-liberal article about this. This is exactly what's in the Constitution. One party, the party of the Republic. Guys, how big is this? Well, you know it's going to be imminent, guys. So how big is this ruling? But is this what's going to cause more riots, right? I don't know. I'm not inciting it. I'm just throwing that out there. Can you imagine having a one-party system, a party of the Republic? Not Republican, not Democrat. It's Republic, the Republic America, a sovereign nation. We're all on the same page. We're all in agreement. We all want to move forward. We don't want things halted. So can you imagine the entire nation having a one-party system? We're all in unison. We all honor our Lord in heaven. We all have the same kind of outlook in terms of only doing what is the right thing to do, the just thing to do, not having the conflicts of these party lines, right? So that's what's really big. Then President Trump, he was hosting a MAGA patriots, those that were out there on the streets and getting beat up or chased down by Antifa thugs. Well, he brought them all, not all, but he brought many of them to the White House, but he got interrupted during that time so that he can go ahead and make this happen. He's very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of the peace plan. Remember, there's 3 phases. That means all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. All parties will be treated fairly. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the United States of America. We thank the mediators of Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey who worked with us to make this historic, unprecedented event happen. Blessed are the peacemakers. And that's ultimately what we're all about, right? Going towards this peace, having just the greatness would be the peace around the world, right? Oh, man, I'll tell you, transition to having peace. Well, President Trump, he posted this shortly after that announcement on Il Donato. Nobel Peace Prize, here we come. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Now, just kind of giving you a summation of exactly everything that happened this past week. President Trump, during this Schumer sombrero shutdown, this is a very short list of things that happened. Gold broke $4,000 an ounce on the 8th of October. Silver, it inched to $50 an ounce on the 8th of October, 2025. 107 Trump picks got confirmed. Tariff funds directly funding women and food programs. No appropriations controlled by Congress. President Trump and Pete Hegseth rolls out military to Chicago, and they're ready to roll it to Portland. President Trump calls for the arrest of Pritzker and Brandon Johnson. President Trump is hinting enacting the Insurrection Act. Trump pays investment deal with a savvy investment structure. Texas Stock Exchange in play. I will have to do a podcast on the financial part. 620,000 federal employees furloughed. IRS is laying off stat, yet they appointed a CEO. Comey indicted, but yet he's implicated in conspiracy and other criminal charges. Ripple Bank, a global bank, is ready to unleash. That will be next month. That's what I'm reading, guys. Some people are saying it's this month, it's next month, and it's not until towards the end of next month. From what I've read, you decide. Trump hints he's got the Nobel Peace Prize in the bag, and Trump brings the MAGA, all the MAGAs that were assaulted, to hear their voices, to do something big. President Trump and the Dems, they haven't moved past the sombrero memes. They're still stuck on the sombrero memes. So President Trump is literally gutting and restructuring the entire government while the government is shut down. And that's the beauty of what's going on now. And then I got a notification from Patriot Trumper 8 Carol. She said, look, she just tagged me on the silver spot price. Silver broke $50 an ounce, guys. Remember when we first talked about it like 4 years ago? 4 years ago, it was like at $12, $15 an ounce. And now look at this, over three times the amount if it was at 15. Fun fact, did you know back in 2014, Ripple Singapore accepted silver and gold as deposits. Then that got halted. And then Ripple Bank, National Bank here in America, will more than likely be fully approved as a global bank by November of 2025, which will be fantastic, guys. I know some of you don't like to hear November 2025, but I'd rather give you a real answer than, an answer you'd like to hear. Silver spot price, and it did break 51 while I was recording this. So how exciting is that? The war in Gaza is over, and only you made this happen, guys. One of the big things about this whole movement is that you are the ones out there pushing, getting information out there, finding the stuff, putting it out there, and just constantly doing it over and over and over again. And the military, the White Hats, and certainly President Trump and his team, they needed to look back and know they got the crowd support from you. And that's what's happening. All of the events going on wouldn't have happened had it not been for real MAGA out there. Some of you are still struggling and you just really don't know what to do. I'm trying to post as many inspirational posts on YouTube. And they're just short clips about Bible verses, but I don't know much, but 3 things I do. Prayer has power. Faith moves mountains. God's love never fails, right? And that is so true. It never, ever does fail. But I'm telling you, Sammy's getting excited. The moon 2 nights ago, man, it was stunning. So, Philip, he's been making some great Sammy memes, and I want to say thank you. But look at this one. Look at Sammy. He's like got the flag on the beach, and then woo, isn't that cute? It's so absolutely adorable. But Sammy's getting excited, guys. And I'm going to close with this video because President Trump did post this. It's about phase 1 of 3, the people of Gaza celebrate. This is what we've been waiting for. It's all about the children. It's all about now watching the children in Gaza celebrate. And then tomorrow or the following day, I'll share some of the clips of the people that are thanking President Trump for making this happen. God bless you abundantly. Enjoy this clip over here that I'll be sharing with you. Have yourselves a beautiful, peaceful, joyous, abundant day. Make the most. Stand proud for what you've done and for your fight. And I'm going to close this now because I'm going to start crying. I absolutely love you so much. Again, if you're watching me on Rumble, come join me on YouTube for more videos. Thanks so much. God bless you. Have a beautiful day, evening, afternoon, and I will have a show tomorrow. Aloha.
Bill, good morning. The war in Gaza is almost over. For the first time in months, there is hope across the Middle East. President Trump has done what so many thought was impossible. Celebrations erupted at Hostages Square in Tel Aviv overnight as Israelis processed the news that all of the remaining hostages held by Hamas will be released in the days ahead.
I want to thank President Trump for bringing this amazing victory. That's the name for it. That's a victory. He deserves a Nobel Prize for this, a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing this amazing deal.
Similar moments of joy unfolding inside Gaza as crowds of Palestinians cheered and chanted. After 2 years of war, an influx of aid and relief will make it to residents there. The Israeli cabinet is set to formally vote on the deal this evening. Once that vote passes, Israeli forces inside Gaza will have 24 hours to pull back to agreed-upon lines within the enclave. President Trump says 20 living hostages will be released on Monday. Israeli media reports the exchange could take place sooner. Local hospitals are already preparing for their return. The hostages will be swapped for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, 250 of whom are serving life sentences. As for the bodies of the remaining 28 hostages, a joint task force from the U.S., Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, and Israel is reportedly being set up to help locate the remains. Remember, this is the first phase of a broader 20-point peace plan, but at this moment, both Israelis and Palestinians agree President Trump has made history.